before I go live, and it's been a different one, so I've had to adjust and figure out what in the heck's going on. So here I am. We are day 4 at this Fearless Goal Crushing Challenge, and it's been so much fun for me. I hope that you've learned some things, that you're discovering some new strategies, and that you're taking big action this week. So in the previous 3 days, we've talked about a few things. First of all, being intentional, which means making a decision, a choice about how we're going to show up in the world. Is we have choices. We have the power within us to do what we need to do. And beginning to notice more about our thoughts and our words and use what I call our noticing superpower, so that we have information that we can then make those choices. We can make informed decisions about how we're going to respond to something, or whether we're going to allow our thoughts to take over our minds or not. And yesterday we talked about understanding a little bit more about what our triggers might be that can cause some of these sensations and fears that we've got that keep us from pursuing some of our goals and dreams, and getting that support system in place that can really help us, that board of directors that can advise us toward our vision, our mission in our life, that supports us in being able to achieve that. So a question for you: what would you do if failure wasn't an option? And if you're doing this challenge, I know that you've got goals that you want to achieve, big dreams that you have for your life that you want to pursue. What would you do if failure wasn't an option in pursuing those goals? So today I'm going to talk about 3 strategies that help us think about decisions a little bit differently. One of these was really new for me, and I loved the way that she thinks about it in the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And the first one is, there's no wrong decision. What? But what if? And what if? And what if? And I know that many times I can what if myself to disaster in a matter of seconds. And then I've convinced myself all those bad things might happen, or they're going to happen. And I get so worried that I don't really take the chance of doing what I'm called to do. And I've spent a lot of valuable time on something that I could have spent elsewhere on that thinking. So today is about helping to liberate you from that limiting mindset and really get this. So think about decision-making as a treasure hunt, that if there's no wrong decision, that each choice is really about just getting additional information and getting a key that opens up the information box. So for example, let's say that you have a couple of choices about where you want to go to pursue something, and you agonize about which one is the right choice and which one is the wrong choice. Well, if you have the mindset that there is no wrong decision, then what you're going to do is you're going to choose the one that seems the best to you at this point in time. And by making that choice, you now have a key that's going to unlock that information box about that decision. And you now have more information. So once you've made that choice and you have more information about what that option looks like for you, you then have more choices in front of you. And you can decide that, well, maybe I do want to do option number 2 now. And now you have more confidence in making that choice because you've gotten more information about what option 1 looks like. So think about decision-making like a treasure hunt, that the choice you make is giving you a key to unlock the information box. And with that information, you have more choices and you can make informed decisions. So you're moving forward, you're getting clues along the way. I love mysteries, so maybe that's the reason I'm thinking about this as far as a treasure hunt, is that I love to solve problems and I love to read mysteries. And it makes me think about decision making in that way, that it's kind of a mystery. Now, be careful not to get into paralysis by analysis on this one. Once you commit to the decision, go for it. Don't second guess, don't judge, just realize you have more information now and you can make different decisions. So you can handle it. This was something that we established on day one, that everything up till this point in time in your life, you have handled. And with these decisions going forward, it's just more information. It's a treasure hunt and you can handle it. So I'm going to ask you again, what would you do if failure wasn't an option? What does that look like for you? What choices would you make to go forward, to make progress on your goals, and to live the life that you have been meant to do and maybe you've been putting off? So the second strategy I want to talk to you about is something called fear setting. And it's kind of along the lines of goal setting, but it has to do with looking at fear. And I learned this concept from Tim Ferriss. If you don't know him, he has a book and he's got tons of stuff, but the 4-Hour Workweek, if you've ever heard of that. And fear setting, the way I look at this is taking the opportunity to unlock more of the information boxes about your decisions. So many times I get stopped when I think of something and all the things that can go wrong. I sort of halt my decision at that point. I decide, okay, that's bad enough. I'm not going to continue to pursue that. And I might just let it go at this point. But fear setting actually takes it 2 steps farther than that to really have a complete picture that helps you make a better decision. So let me explain. So the first step about fear setting is probably what you know. What might go wrong? What are the worst case scenarios that could happen if I make this choice? And part of step number 1, though, is looking at how can I prevent those things from happening? Or if they actually happened, how can I minimize their impact so that I can live with it? So that's step 1. Step 2, which so many times we never get to because we freak out on step 1. Step 2 is what might go right. If I make this decision, what are all of the positives? What are all the benefits of this decision? What is this going to mean to me and others if things go right? Because so many times things will go right. And so making that choice can really be helpful for us. So step 2 is really getting around what can go wrong and looking at the benefits if I make this decision. So step 3 is what are the consequences of inaction? Because inaction is a decision. Now, there may be positive things that could be a consequence of inaction, not taking action. And stepping through what those might mean in maybe the next month or 3 months or 6 months can help you decide when or even if this might be the right decision for you. So it's called fear setting. It's another strategy that helps you in making decisions. And I will post in the comments below the worksheets that I use when I teach this in my workshops. Thank you, Diane. I totally think it's awesomeness too, because for me, I get freaked out, right? When something sounds like it's just going to go horribly wrong. And then I'm like, I'm out. So the third strategy on helping us to keep focused and on the decisions we make is really looking at the why. And we talked about this earlier this week, and focusing on the ultimate destination that you want to get to, and being open for the how, for how something is going to happen. I used to be the person, first of all, I love to organize and plan stuff like crazy. It's my zone of genius, and I just love when I can get a spreadsheet or put a flow chart together. Thank you for the hearts and likes, ladies. And I feel energized when I get to do that kind of stuff. And so many times in my life, I planned it out, oh gosh, for like the next 20 years in general and the next 5 years in detail. of exactly what's going to happen. Of course, it hasn't happened like that whatsoever. And that's totally fine with me. But if I keep focused on the why I'm doing something, why something is important to me, then I can be open to the how. And I can be less stressed about those decisions and making a wrong decision, because there's so many different ways to accomplish the same thing. But if we keep our eyes focused on our big vision in our life and our why, and where we want to go, and what we want to accomplish, and be open to the how, then it's just going to be less stress. It's going to be just some beautiful things that are going to come to you that maybe you wouldn't have if you had tried to force the how along the way. So if your goal is the destination that you want to go to, take steps in that direction. And sometimes we might veer off the path. That's totally okay. We have some of these tools that we can use to keep us coming back to where we want to go. Sometimes we have to take a detour. There's just no other option. And that's okay. If we still have our eyes fixed on the why we're doing this and what our ultimate destination is, it will get us back on the path. The how, if you release that, you will find so many things come to you that are so much more exciting than maybe you ever would have planned. That's been my experience in really kind of letting go that detailed planning of my life, and just being open to the how it's really brought me some joy back into my life. So today we've learned 3 strategies about decision making, about looking at it as an adventure, a treasure hunt, that you're unlocking information boxes when you make a choice. And so there's no wrong decision. Fear setting, really looking at what could go right if I make this choice, and what's the consequences of inaction, which is actually a decision. And it's okay if that's our choice, is not to make a decision, but we've looked at all the angles. That's awesome if we make that choice. Thank you, Diane. I'm so happy to hear that. Can't wait to see what you're going to create from all of this. And keep focused on the why, your purpose, your destination, where you want to go with your life, where your vision is. And so now, what choices are you going to make with this perspective about decision making? What would you do if failure wasn't an option? I thank you so much for joining today, and your comments and your love. And I'm so grateful for this journey that I'm on. I'm learning a lot too, and I've just been really enjoying seeing the progress that people are making with their goals, and the action steps that are being taken this week. It's really inspiring to me as well. And tomorrow we're going to wrap up this week. The videos will remain out in the Courageous Chicks YouTube channel and the playlist for the challenge, as well as in the Facebook group, and all the worksheets will be there. So today I've got that additional worksheet that I'm going to put in the comments when I sign off here about the fear setting. Let me know if you try that and what you think about it. Thank you again, and I will see you tomorrow, ladies. Bye.